On October 4th, I will be at the Kookaburra Lounge in Hollywood. On October 8th, I will be doing Keida, our wonderful producer's show, Behind the Lines at the Hollywood Improv in the Lab. Tickets are available on my Instagram at my Linktree at Jessie Zand. We'll have more dates coming soon, and I hope to see you guys out there. All right, let's kick it off, ladies. Episode 6.
It's my lucky number.
It's your lucky number?
6?
Or 46. I don't know.
What?
Don't ask. Don't ask me what my favorite
What's
number.
your lucky number?
3.
7.
That's a good one. That's a classic. Mine's 666.
I know. That's why I was like, oh.
I think of superstitions as the opposite. When I see a black cat, I say, I'm getting good luck. If I break a mirror, I'm about to win the lottery. Superstitions to me it's reverse psychology from unknown forces trying to block me from these spiritual gifts.
This is starting out to be already a very spooky episode.
This is spooky as
Well,
fuck.
it's almost
because
spooky
look,
season.
I'm
almost
dressed
spooky
like
season.
Morticia Adams.
You are.
Yeah.
You look great.
You're satanic.
Being satanic in the corner.
Yeah.
I love God. We should mention
our
talked
hater.
about our hater.
Our hater. Yeah, we got our first hater. We love you so much.
We love.
Play a clip from his Instagram. Insert.
Not that we're promoting you to hate on us, but this comment was particularly fun. He called us industry plants, which is the biggest compliment you could have given us.
So you're saying we look great and it looks professional?
He was also calling attention to the horns behind Jessie as if that was some kind of like, it was some kind of satanic symbolism. And when I read that comment, I was like, I'm such a conspiracy theorist. This is going to make, if people continue in that vein, it's going to make me stop believing in conspiracies because it will ground me too much into reality because I know that this is not some kind of, symbolism.
I will let you know that is fully intentional, that is behind there.
Oh, when I say a conspiracy theorist.
It's not some weird,
but you're not in the Illuminati
thing.
No.
Trust
That's what
me,
I'm saying.
If we're the Illuminati, let's be honest, we'd
look better.
We'd be on a yacht. We'd be on a yacht.
We would be on a yacht.
Hey, vintage lovers. If you're looking for that one-of-a-kind curated designer piece that screams style and sophistication, look no further than Funny Girl Vintage. Your go-to destination for curated, high-quality vintage fashion that'll have you looking as well as feeling fabulous. At Funny Girl Vintage, they don't just find great pieces, they curate them with an eye for detail and a passion for unique designer finds from iconic designer labels like, D&G. Wait, that's a terrible one to say. They've canceled. For iconic labels, they household names we're talking, to timeless classics. Their collection is like a treasure trove of vintage glam. Check out their website, funnygirlvintage.com, or stop by the showroom on Melrose for a one-on-one style consultation. And guess what?
What?
As a treat for our viewers, you can use a code that is personal to us, that is night, like the word night, for 10% off. That's a deal. In this economy, 10%, honey, anything counts.
Steal.
It's a steal. You're stealing from Funny Girl through us. That's right. Just use the code at checkout and enjoy the sickening discount. We thank Funny Girl Vintage for being our great sponsor.
What are your guys' thoughts on when a guy asks you if they can kiss you? I was seeing a lot of online debate about this.
That's a good question.
Totally situational.
Okay. Explain.
Because I've had guys do that and it's kind of like cute and romantic.
Yeah.
But if you don't want them to kiss you, then it's like perfect.
I agree though. Sometimes I've been in dating situations where it absolutely kills the mood because there's just times where it's like on some deeper level, you just want someone to sort of take charge, but then also you have to be, in the right setting. You don't want the wrong person to be taking charge and then it feels really uncomfortable and predatory.
Yeah.
But I agree. Sometimes it's cute and sweet if someone's like, can I kiss you? And you're like, okay, yeah.
Because sometimes you need that moment to be, because I've had guys also just like go ahead and kiss me and it just was not,
and you're like, oh, yeah,
unprepared. It was too much.
I think it really depends on the situation.
Depends.
It really depends.
What about you? Do you like it?
I used to be so against it. I used to be like, you fucking pussy, just do it. Why are you asking? Like, this is the problem with men these days. Like, you guys are just
Very
weak.
you.
But now I've changed my tune about it because I do think it disarms me in a way because my number one criticism that every guy has ever given me is that I am too much, which That's fine with me.
I too have heard this.
I'm very comfortable in who I am, so I don't ever cower or make myself smaller when I go out on dates. I'm just me, and I do think that that's kind of my gift. Is I am me with every single person I know and interact with. I get that I can come off a bit aggressive and assertive, which if you can't handle the heat, get the fuck out of the kitchen. But I will say that when a guy has asked me if they could kiss me, I do appreciate it because it also gives me a level, like it puts me into a mode of like, oh yeah, I am. It gets me back into my feminine, let's say.
Girl.
Like I am. And I'm like,
I'm a
okay. And
girl.
it puts me into the like, okay, which is a rare, you were talking about this. You were like, I can't imagine you having a crush.
I also can't.
No, I've seen
seeing
her
even you
in it.
behave this way in this moment of like, I'm like, what are you doing?
No, I've seen her with a guy not long ago.
We can air this out, by the way, too, because fun fact, we started a Patreon last night.
Wait, we did?
Yeah, we started a
did?
Patreon. There's nothing on there
How
yet.
many thousands of subscribers do we have?
How much
yet?
money are we making already?
Yeah.
Like-
1.5 million within the first hour.
Crazy.
Fantastic.
Eat
I
your
knew
heart
it.
out, Alex
I knew
Cooper.
it.
I saw Jessie in a situation where she was definitely crushing hard, and I haven't seen you like this probably ever. And you were in your feminine. And I honestly, I like it. Call me old school, but I liked it for you. It was seeing a switch. It was like you suddenly were, you were still yourself, but you were, demure. I hate that word, cancel.
Cancel, yeah.
You were just a
Even
sweet.
hearing about myself in this way,
You're nauseous.
I'm nauseous. I'm so.
You were
I'm-
so cute. You were like a blushing girl,
Ugh. It's
on the
disgusting.
schoolyard with a
It's
crush.
Disgusting.
Meanwhile, this is me every time I have any interest in a man. I just turn into like a little, oh.
Izzie, though, to her credit in this situation, Izzie is the consummate wing woman. Like, I can't tell you how.
true.
I'm sure like you and your crush were having like, I was like helping like push. I was like, she has a podcast,
I was like, church and state. We don't bring that up here. And the guy's like, oh, church and state, for sure. I'll check out your podcast.
They'll never find our
They'll never
podcast.
find
No.
it. Thank God, honestly. No, so I've changed my tune about the whole asking thing. And maybe one day you'll see me in my demure girl
God,
vibe, but
That'd be
it won't.
crazy.
It's funny too because I found that I've brought guys to shows to watch me do stand up, and every time I do it, it is the kiss of death for the relationship.
Huh.
Every time, and it's not like
Emasculated. It's
they're-
because
yeah.
I think it's because the guys in question just aren't man enough to be able to see a woman doing something.
but even
Really,
who was
still
like
not man enough. Sorry.
Yeah, he was so like in awe and like enamored by it, but I could tell after was like really uncomfortable by
The attention you were getting, the praise you were getting, because it was kind
because
of
then
like
he's like with
your
me.
mom was there, like you were getting gassed up, and he was just kind of like sulking. And I've seen men do this a lot.
I could just tell he was uncomfortable with the level of attention that was like being drawn to him via me.
Mhm.
And so I think for me,
any normal, man who's comfortable in his masculinity would be like, wow, this is sick. Look, I'm dating a girl who's really cool.
yeah, I just have a feeling I'm going to follow in my mother's footsteps, and I've got one more failed marriage, and then I'll meet my soulmate. So
Yeah. My mom always says you got to break your heart a few times to get
Yeah.
the right one.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's important when you're a strong personality that you're with somebody who isn't intimidated and wants to
Exactly.
boost you up.
Exactly.
I went on a date a long time ago with a comedian.
Oh.
Really?
And when I went out with him, it was really funny. He asked me out. I was 19, so he was considerably older.
Mm.
And we had to go to a bar in Venice where I knew I could get in with my fake ID. Funny enough, both my parents who always encouraged me to date older men. When I was like in high school, I was
Same.
dating guys that were like much older than me. And my parents were like, oh, good. Like they were more worried about young guys than they were about older guys. So they were always
Interesting.
pushing me to date people that were kind of age inappropriate. Like I had a flirtation with a guy when I was 18 who was like 36, and my mom was like, he likes you. And I was like, okay. So that was always kind of, I was set
Gina.
up for that.
Gina.
And always, shout out to Gina. But I went out with this guy, and when we were at the bar, we were having a really good time. We were kind of doing bits and everything. He was making jokes, and I was kind of keeping up with him. And then we went to another bar in Venice, this bar, Townhouse. And we got to Townhouse. Oh, he had invited some friends. I invited a friend. He invited some friends. It was kind of weird, but it was like
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, it just happened. I brought Maddie. Shout out Maddie.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. And he made a joke. I piggybacked on his joke. And his friend was like, haha, like, dude, she's really funny. And all of a sudden, his demeanor shifted.
Whoa.
And all of a sudden, it wasn't that I could say he was like, I was so mind-blowingly funny that he was like insecure. It was more like I could tell he was becoming irritated that I was kind of matching his freak in terms of being weird and he was, you know, making like inappropriate kind of like fucked up jokes.
And I was gorgeous.
And I was matching the bits and going a step further and whatever.
He saw you as an equal.
So he disappeared. And his friends, I don't know how close these friends were because they were weirdly kind of clinging on and they were coming over to me and being like, you know, where is he? Where is he? And I was like, I actually don't know where he is. And I texted him and I was like, hey, where'd you go? And he was across the street getting food and he was just sitting by himself, like eating tacos.
That's such a moping.
I'd gone to his show. That was how I met him. I'd gone to his show. My friend was a fan. He wasn't that big at the time. So I went over with my friend and I was like, my friend's a fan. And he was like, who are you? Kind of thing. And I was like, no, talk to my friend. And then my friend ended up getting a job working for him. And the first thing he asked was like, who's that light-skinned girl you were hanging out with? And got my number through my friend. And he called me, and I was casually dating someone else, and he called me, or he texted me first, and he was like, hey, let's go out or something. And I was like, hey, I'm kind of seeing somebody, but like we can hang out as friends. I said on the phone, I was like, just so you know, I'm not going to sleep with you. And he goes, well, we'll see about that. And I was like, no, I'm pretty certain. He wasn't, it sounds creepier than it was. He was just basically being like, let's see how the date goes. And I was like, no, I'm being clear about this. I'm not going to sleep with you. So cut to the date and he's eating tacos and on the side of the street, whatever. And we kind of reconvene. He's super detached at this point. And it really felt like, and I could be wrong, there could have been something else, but it really felt like the divide happened when his friend made this comment, like, she's really keeping up, she's really funny. And then he called an Uber and he was like, all right, you coming with me? And I was like, no, I told you I'm not coming with you. And he was like, all right, like, you're cute, but I'll see you around, whatever. And then my friend who was working for him, I guess, went into work the next day or whatever and was like, how is it? And he was like, yeah, she's just kind of young. And I was like, all right. But I've run into him many times. He's very sweet. I've run into him many times all around town. He's still very, very nice. Not a weirdo at the end of the day. But it was just funny because it's like you would think as someone who enjoys comedy, like that's the dream is to like go out with a comic, you know? And I'm not even trying to do comedy myself, but I just enjoy comedy. But it was like, I think if you are in certain dynamics with certain men who are funny men, you have to expect that you are to be seen and not heard.
The way I operate in comedic spaces and comedy clubs and stuff is with that very much top of mind, because you do get that guys will treat me a certain way in the green room and then they'll see me go up on stage and the energy shifts. Because it's like, you know, I'm not saying I'm the best comic in the world. I'm still cutting my teeth, but, you know, I have chops. So the energy definitely shifts once they're like, oh, okay, you're not just cute.
Well, comics are also very competitive.
Yeah, and I think that moment,
that's probably what happened in that.
He saw you as an equal. You weren't just some plaything anymore. He was like, oh, you're an intellectual equal. Like I can't like the mystique is gone. It's one thing if she's, you know, young and hot and whatever, and this is just going to be a fun tryst. But then she, you know, you were humanized by your intellect, and he was like, oh, this is not.
Or also maybe on some level, in the most simplistic way, it was literally just like, oh God, this is going to be exhausting. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be as simple as just being able
I don't think so.
To like put on the charm and be like, look at all of what I have. It's like I have to put in some real work if I'm going to sleep with her.
And that
you weren't going to be an easy
lay.
I was not. And then I told him, I was like, I'm strong in my convictions. It's not going to be a lay at all.
But that's also to your point. But to your point, I think like it is like when I go on a date with somebody as a comic and like they can, like I'm looking for someone to match my intellectual freak, right? And and when they do, like typically you're excited about it, unless you're like, I'm just here to have fun. Mm-hmm. A person may have more, like, there may be more to this than just fun. And now the mystique and the fuck it is gone.
True.
Well, can I just say, Alana, your story makes me very thankful that when I matched with this person on a dating app, I never messaged him.
And the funniest thing is, as I was saying earlier, is Issa, who was in our studio
Yeah,
audience
we have Issa
today.
in our studio audience.
What's
Issa
up?
and I look like we could be
Yes.
cousins.
Yes. We have
We'll put a picture.
similar features and complexions.
Yeah.
So perhaps this man has a type,
type. Yeah.
which I guess he kind of falls
he
into
also
that.
looks like
Yeah.
he could be related
Yeah.
to us.
Okay, so let's bring out the deck.
Yes.
Okay, so
Stop.
Issa's in the studio audience. We have this deck. Issa and I share a therapist. Shout out Meredith. Guys, this was like a introduction. This is like an introduction thing that she sometimes gives you to like, I don't know, warm you up to the idea that like maybe you are more aware of your psychosis than you're willing to admit. So the deck is called the Animal Spirit deck. So I figured it might be fun for us to pull some cards and
Let's
see
do
what the
it.
fuck happens.
See
Because we
what
did
you
this in
mean.
Palm Springs
Mhm.
and we all had some pretty
Pretty accurate.
pretty accurate stuff happen. So we're gonna pull some cards and see what happens.
How we want to do this?
Yeah, like we would just pull. Yeah, we can do
maybe
that.
maybe give it like a little shuffle or like cut the deck
Okay.
and put like a little bit of your energy like to start or
I'll
who we
start.
You
All
start.
I
right.
want to. And I know I'm going to ask about my love life because that's always the most fun. I'm just going to ask, generally what
And
is
Typically, I say do like a past, present, and
past,
future.
present. Are we doing 3 cards each?
Yeah, do
Yeah,
3 cards
okay.
each.
So I'm going to do my love life without revealing anything about it. Ooh.
Refuses to put her Instagram on the pod, but will ask questions about her love life.
But I'm going to keep it vague.
I won't.
Past, present. What's the future? I feel like it's this.
Since we've been talking about how I hate having a crush, why don't we just fill out on that
Mhm.
vibe for me? Like, what's in the cards for me for love? Past, present, and future.
I'm already going steady, so
Why don't you do career?
I'm gonna do what's next in the cards literally for me with as it pertains to writing my next book that has been eluding me.
Hardly Strangers comes out in November.
Hardly Strangers comes out in November. Next book. I stay focused on the future.
Any fucking day now, Alana.
No,
Sorry.
I respect you.
Look at
She's
these
feeling the
nails.
energy of the cards.
Yeah,
Leave her
but-
alone.
Kick it off is.
My past, a fish. That's crazy because I am a Pisces and I have that tattoo. So does Jessie.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See? Okay, my past was the fish. My present is the horse with the same tattoo. I used to ride horses. That's crazy. Future is the eagle.
So give me a second to pull up water
God,
as
I
I
can't
flip
wait to
through
edit
these
this
cards.
episode.
Yeah. Flip,
It's gonna
flip.
be
Funniest part is this was my idea.
yeah,
Truly.
and she's miserable already.
Should I take longer to find it?
Not if everyone wants to walk out of this room living.
She's like, Jessie's loving this segment. If you can't tell,
All right. So fish, restlessness, change of focus, perhaps lost in the current. Nothing pleases it more than constant movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness or slippery relationships.
crazy. That's exactly my life.
With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul.
My interpretation of that off the bat is that you have to be clear about what your dating goals are, what you
Yeah.
want.
I think that's true. I mean, I immediately thought when it was talking about the fish, being kind of transient, I moved a lot in my 20s. I was going back and forth from LA and Atlanta, and I
You
think
moved a lot during high school too.
high school, yeah.
Yeah.
For the girl that's like always on the go.
Yeah.
You are. That is, I think, and I think in this time you've been grinding. Like
Yeah.
you're focused in a way that's like different. So it makes sense that would be like your past.
Interesting.
Okay, the horse.
The horse.
Horse energy. Take that movement and make it into momentum, girl. Momentum, freedom, expansive energy, and force. The horse represents the most masterful form of earth energy within the deck. It provides us with momentum so reliable and so supportive that you can ride on its back towards any goal, no matter how difficult the terrain. A horse personality is fully awakened, fully alive, and cannot be defeated. You're able to hone your energy through daily practice, physical stamina, mental focus, and all of these things will become your secret weapons. So really just focusing on making that momentum and that movement into momentum. Your balance will be strength training. So go hit a HIIT class or something.
No.
Yeah.
I'll go ride a horse.
100% come with
strength.
me. Yeah. How do you feel about this horse energy?
I feel good about it. At first I thought it was describing someone else, but now I'm thinking it's describing me.
I think so too.
I think it's all around the energy of the past being the slipperiness, undefined relationships, the present being take action, be brave.
And I've seen in the last year, you grow into yourself so much and you're surrounded by people who love you for who you are. And I think that's what echoes it. Like you just take that momentum and run with it because we love you for you and fuck what anybody else
I've
thinks.
always loved me for me. I think it was always growing. I'm
You're
going to be
always-
growing for the rest of my life.
Night school, baby.
It's always. I'm a
always.
student of life.
Student of life.
You're also a 10-pound baby, right?
Don't remind me, Keida. Pounds 1 ounce if you want to be
The one is just
specific.
mean.
The one is just mean. Ugh, now I'm mad at my mom again.
Our
Okay,
big
the
girl
eagle.
grows up
The
so
eagle.
fast.
The eagle.
All right. Eagle. All-pervading power, truth seeker, and transforms karma. The noble eagle emanates the light of the sun. This great bird is both physically and spiritually strong. It represents mastery over the elements, fire and air. When the eagle appears, you'll be thrown into the karmic fire for the sake of your transformation. The eagle pushes us to be our best and brightest selves. Stops at nothing to see us shine. Grasp the sun and hold on for the ride. You are much stronger than you think, eagle child.
You know what another first intuitive hit on that? Mastery over air. In all of this, like spirituality, air is the mind. And I think your mind gets in the way with dating and relationships. So I think for the future of dating and relationships, mastery over your mind.
Yeah. I've
In
worked
order
on
to-
Great
that.
point.
Quell
I've worked on
the
that.
inner demons.
I think this is a pretty good reading. I also think like an eagle in a masculine sense, that's like,
You need to date
I
a
need
a biker.
A biker. Disgusting. I just think of like, when I think of a biker, I think of like the burliest, smelliest dude.
No,
On
I'm
the
just thinking
motorcycle.
chest tats, but that's fine.
That's okay with me.
Yeah.
I like tattoos sometimes.
I could just see you on the back of like having a Alana moment, like on the back of a Harley.
I'll never get on a motorcycle, but maybe.
Yeah.
Jesse, you are up.
The snake.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait, no, there's two.
Oh.
Shit.
Uh-oh.
Dude, yes.
There's
Now we get a
two.
duel.
Oh, I did not mean. Okay, there's two. It's the snake and the shark
All right.
for my past. Everyone from my past is like, yeah, bitch, you were a snake.
Snake is the guardian of unawakened magic and creative potential. The snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It's well worth considering the amount of unawakened or untapped potential within. What would life look like if you woke it up and you were to stir it from its slumber? This part is Jesse's going to hate. An experienced yoga or meditation teacher can lead you through this, lead you and show you the way.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
The Australian.
That was my first
The
one.
7
Really?
foot tall
Okay, good. I'm
Australian
not
I
alone.
dated is the one who leads me to enlightenment. Kill
Yeah.
me.
Well, it's your past we're speaking of, so.
Yeah. There was nothing enlightening about watching him slam four
Yeah.
4x4s and then take a violent shit in front of me.
You're enlightened that you didn't want that. So yeah, it was enlightening.
Yeah.
Every time I pull these cards from these decks, 'cause I've done this before, I always like ask about love, but it ends up just being about me stronger. I do feel like before I started stand-up, I was so vehemently against doing anything creative. Both my parents were in showbiz and got aged out of the business, and I watched a lot of their work prospects just completely dwindle. So I saw being creative and committing to that kind of like to make art as not smart financially. So I decided to go a completely different route and, you know, work a corporate job and all of that. And then I found stand up and I started doing this podcast and this new side of myself that has kind of come to life in the last few years that wasn't really there before. It was kind of dormant, but it wasn't something that I ever fully trusted or like allowed forward. So that definitely rings true in a lot of ways.
No, you're definitely like so stepping into yourself in so many ways. And it's been such a beautiful thing to watch and see. We've come a long way from ripping fat chops at my house.
Just ripping fat balls.
Just, yeah.
Okay, the shark.
All right. The shark, here we go.
No.
Directness, exposure, revealing true nature and desire. The shark is only dangerous when we don't acknowledge it. this card indicates that something big needs to be exposed. It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. Shark energy takes over us when we hesitate, like to be honest, or are not truly being ourselves. It may be tempting to continue pretending nothing is wrong, but when shark energy is at play, we feel its presence encircling us. Bring into balance honesty.
So it sounds like you have to get real with yourself about something in order to find what you seek.
What am I not real about?
Dating and relationships.
But you're really real. I feel like my interpretation for you on this, especially from like a past thing, is maybe not being honest about that snake potential, right?
Yeah.
And I think that you've now really stepped into your power, not just in the space of like comedy and such, but also I think in dating, you've tried different things, different people, different relationship structures.
Cat food CEO, yeah.
100%, yeah.
I'm not bleeping that either.
Yeah. Can I get some cat food? I just got a new kitten.
You can have the ones my cats wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to sponsor us, if you watch this and you still stalk me, which you probably do, you can sponsor us.
What's your present?
Panther.
Ooh. Annihilation of the unnecessary. The panther won't stand to see our growth or energy stagnate. Instead, it pounces into our lives and causes all kinds of havoc with the ultimate intention of bringing us towards a more fulfilling life. It's unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes feels devastating, but after all the dust clears, it's easy to see the panther's wisdom at work. We've all been through these experiences, and they've made us better people. Trust that the panther's journey always leads towards a brighter place.
Any thoughts on that?
It sounds like, you know, in a more literal sense, you've decided not to be on apps and be distracted and focus on what you want and not sort of try things on anymore. So it sounds like you're in that alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll accept that.
Yeah, it says to get rid of the unnecessary to bring into balance, which I think...
I did just cancel my Raya.
Yeah.
So last
You
night.
literally have been saying like,
I saw one of our
cutting to
canceled
the chase.
unnecessaries the other day leaving my house, by the way. The one that pops up like a whack-a-mole in social situations. Correct.
Literally, facial blindness literally is like a case of genital fucking herpes that no one can get rid of. He will not he won't go away. I've literally put him on blast on the podcast, hoping, praying, maybe one day this will repel him enough, and yet nothing.
Maybe he's the commenter.
Watch, I swear to God, he would be my op. You can go fuck
Who
yourself.
else would
you
name their
little
username podcast 11111 or something?
Whatever, eat a dick. Nightingale. For my future.
Oh, I just pulled this one, so I kind of like know it. It's like you got to like sing your truth, whole little vibe.
Yo, facial blindness, you suck.
What if he's the one?
God help me. If that little rodent...
I've just been reading a lot of romance because of having to write romance.
He's your Mr. Darcy.
God. I will be honest about facial blindness. I think like in a lot of ways that relationship, tryst or whatever, meant a lot to me, and I really like truly loved that person as a friend, and how after the initial really fucked up shit he did and came back and apologized and then showed up to my show at my like first show ever at the Belly Room, like unannounced, and saw our friend Sophia and was like, Jessie doesn't know I'm here, don't tell her. And I saw him from the green room. And it was my first time at the Belly Room, which also like a dream for a comic to be able to perform at the store. Like that is like just the most exciting thing you could ever do. So to have, and he knew that. He's a fan of comedy. He didn't just wander in there to be like, oh, it's one of her shows. Like he damn well knew what that meant.
I feel like Izzie and I are another, to again, this polarity, this difference here. Izzie and I are the type of people that think baby, it's cold outside is super romantic.
Totally.
You know? Like you're the one that's like, that's kind of eerie, and we're like, I guess I can come in. He said I can't leave.
Well, it would have been very cute if then he didn't take me and my friends all out to have drinks later, only to tell me, you know, I just want to be friends.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. But I could romanticize anything, so don't put it past me.
Don't make a grand gesture and show up to my show just to be like, you know what, I just want to be friends.
He was playing hard to get.
So I was honestly so hurt by that and by his continual behavior about it, because he was my friend and we did have this foundation of friendship on comedy. And so that was really for me like the last straw. And if he is my soulmate, kill me now, because I would hope that I end up with somebody with the modicum of self-awareness and respect that he wouldn't keep doing shit like that.
So maybe he's not your soulmate.
Yeah. Okay, Nightingale, let's fucking run through this shit. We're 40 minutes in on this bullshit.
The Nightingale. Fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. This simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable amongst flashy plumage of other birds. That's bullshit. My girl is beautiful. Don't be calling her.
Maybe it's talking about the man.
True. Okay. Sorry, I'm
So I have to date an
anthropomorphic.
Uggo?
No one said Uggo. Nightingales are cute. Please. Don't insult this
Understated.
bird.
Understated.
Quiet.
Demure.
So he has shitty style.
Well, that
Slap the negativity out of
you
you.
can.
Maybe he's a basic bitch.
Oh. Okay, then maybe we're in love. Okay, what do I need to bring it into balance?
Music.
I do feel like I need more dance parties.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Alana, you're up.
Okay. Raccoon.
Excellent.
Is this racist?
Possibly.
Possibly.
What did it call me?
Yeah.
To refresh, this was about my next steps or what's going to happen regarding writing my next book.
It does touch on artists. It says that raccoon energy is at play within all artists to a lesser or greater degree. At its best, it's indicating talent, tenacity, and skillfulness with perhaps a musical instrument or creative tool you're writing. Its shadow side points us to an unresolved issue around self-image and success, sometimes using a stage name or wearing a mask works in the artist's favor. Other times it can limit creativity. Am I who the audience thinks I am? What if I am ready to grow into something more? Raccoon energy won't let us off the hook until this creative ego fear is resolved. To bring into balance, make new work. So keep going.
What the hell?
Damn.
Okay, well, for those of you who don't know, I do write under a pseudonym, A.C. Robinson. And I do need to write a new book. So,
But I do think also, too, intuitive hit moment, this is showing a side of you that is you.
True.
Like this podcast. Like
Yeah.
you are not hiding behind any anonymity.
yes.
And
This is the past too. That's
This
your
is-
past
yeah.
The
card.
past, yes. Shadowy.
So-
Eating in the
Shadowy.
garbage.
I
Dwelling
love
in
a trash
shadows.
panda.
For present, spider.
Spider, creator of prosperity through life's work. The spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of Dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This card reminds us that creativity is everywhere. Be process-oriented rather than results-oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Abundance follows. Bring into balance playful creativity.
That feels very on point. From spending so many years not working on writing and not putting any effort into my creative process and just hoping that at some point, lightning would strike and things would move forward. Every day, I wake up, same time, I go and sit at my computer and I try to write. And recently, the process has been a lot less enjoyable because as the book that I've just written is coming to a close, I've been very grateful to have realized this year what it is that I want to do, which is writing. But also now it feels like I've turned it into somewhat of a chore.
Mhm.
So I have become tired. I've tired of it a bit. So it's finding a way to become playful around that somehow.
To have fun doing it.
To have fun doing it
Because
again.
you have to find the fun
Yes.
in it. You
it has
have
not
to.
been fun. It's felt dire
Yeah.
and it's felt intense and like so much.
And you
sort of
know that's
weighs
not
on that.
how it should be.
Yes.
And that's the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
this is your calling. One of
Yes.
many, but this is like a huge calling for you. And I think
agree.
figuring out the tools that you need to make it more fun
Yeah,
is part of that.
absolutely. Well, interesting. Crow.
Ooh.
for future.
Wise.
I used to have recurring dreams about a crow
Hmm.
when I was a kid. It's interesting.
Call Gina. What does it mean?
I know.
The crow is spiritually strong, creative, and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen, knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye 3 realities: past, present, and future. The crow energy is potent and should be only tapped into when the mind is clear. The crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. Bring into balance daily meditation practice.
I know.
Of course.
I know.
Daily meditation. My mom, if my mom hears that, she's like, I told you. Slightly more like vague and ambiguous, but I'm sure in general it's that needing balance in life in order to create the kind of work that I want to create.
I think
and
also you time. Like
yes.
you time.
Yeah.
And it's not and
me
not
time that's
in,
not dominated by the fear of needing to write.
Yeah. You
Because
time.
most of my me time is spent sitting in front of the computer.
No, I think
Waiting.
I think meditation's just a broad term for
Yep.
time
Yeah.
with yourself, and you can
I
meditate
agree.
in a whole plethora of ways.
Yes. No, that felt very accurate. That felt very accurate.
So now we're on to the advice segment. Again, please submit your advice or questions. If you have a funny story, if
We're
you
very qualified.
Yeah, we're very qualified.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a confession, submit it tinyurl.com/night school advice. Okay, so someone submitted, I hate discussing sex with my friends. What do I do?
Don't.
Yeah. I will say, as somebody who has been on this journey, I was definitely that person who was like, so, and I still kind of am, like I said, I have these weird rules about on being on stage and talking about dating. Like, and I think a lot of that comes from my own like internalized like shame and stuff like that. I will say, talking about sex with my friends, like you don't have to get into graphic detail about what you like or what you don't like, but like we're girls, like sometimes we'll talk about it, whatever. We'll like, shoot the shit about our experiences. I will say having those conversations with friends, it will make sex feel less shameful for you and less scary. And it'll also help you. I think one thing that I didn't really ever do before I kind of started on this journey of talking about it more was like actually talk about sex with the person I was having sex with. Like, what is it that you like? What is it that you don't like? Like, that's a really important part of the conversation that I think sometimes gets missed, especially if you have a lot of shame about it. And I found that like really ends up making the experience a lot more pleasurable. And it also like kind of gets all of that discomfort out of the way. But it takes time. It takes practice. I also vocalize that you're uncomfortable because I think once you name the fear, it kind of eliminates it from being a fear.
Again, I would like to offer an indirect route because I think that is what I can bring to this segment. As you provide the direct route, I will provide the indirect route. Indirectly, I appreciate the desire to be honest and forthright and tell your friends you're uncomfortable. Or there's a few other things you could do. You can start talking about religious shame, biblical concepts, the idea that your friends will burn in hell eternally for being whores until they feel so uncomfortable and it triggers some deep religious trauma that they start to shut down.
Then you'll never talk about sex with your
They'll
friends
never talk
again.
about
It'll
sex
be
again.
perfect for you.
Or another thing you can do is you can start making up horrible, tragic things that have happened to you. Someone tries to talk about a fun fling they had, and you interject and say, I'm sorry to stop you telling your, fun weekend story, but I watched someone self-immolate on the I-10 freeway last week, and I can't stop thinking about it. And if you just keep bringing up these stories, I was walking down the street and there was a construction site and I saw a man get trapped in a porta potty and then it fell into the foundation of this house they were building and I heard his screams and I haven't been able to stop hearing them in my dreams. I guarantee you no one will want to talk about sex.
No, I'm not even thinking about sex anymore now. I was before, now I'm not.
No, you won't be thinking about sex
I'm
anymore.
disgusted by it.
Yeah. So there's a few options. You can be direct and tell them you're uncomfortable, or you can make them feel deep religious shame or bring up fake things that have happened that are not sexy and actually quite disturbing to change the subject.
Next question. Okay, this one's going to be tricky. I slept with my best friend's boyfriend 2 years ago, and they've been together for 5 years. I was blackout. They will probably get married one day. Do I keep this secret forever? Okay. Here's the thing. You were blackout. So let's just take you into this situation. You were blackout. So was this guy also blackout, or did he take advantage of you? That's the first question. The second question is, I think you need to do a cost-benefit analysis here. Is this relationship something that you, like, was this a one-time fuck up on this guy's part, or is this guy an asshole and needs to be exposed? Like, I think you really need to understand that piece of it, because we talked about this earlier. It's dissociating tough right now. Do we cut this? Do you want to cut this?
No, I mean, it's very interesting.
I don't know if we have an answer for this person, honestly.
I mean, it sounds like you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
All right. I will. Okay. So here's
I
the
would
thing.
move to a different country if that was part of my past.
Yeah.
So here's the
No
thing. I think you need to do the
reader.
cost-benefit analysis of how much this telling the truth is going to help or hurt the situation. If this person, if they're probably going to get married one day and this was a one-time fuck up, it was early on when they were dating. Well, no, hold on. She said, I slept with my boyfriend's friend 2 years ago and they've been together for 5 years. So they were together already for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's not great. Here's the thing. We're not going to pass judgment on our
True,
submissions.
true.
We're not going to pass judgment on our submissions. I have
cut
been
that.
cheated on and I have cheated. So I feel like I am qualified here to give some feedback. I think you need to do the cost-benefit analysis here. If you fucked up. You were blackout, so kind of like I give you some grace there, but this is probably something this girl deserves to know before she decides to spend the rest of her life with this guy. Because if it were to come out, let's say when she has kids and later down the line, she may care, she may not. I have a feeling she probably will. So I think you need to be honest and tell her. But I also think, is this a friend you said it was your best friend? So yeah, you need to be honest. And you need to know that this may end your relationship. Like, this may end your relationship with this person,
And she may stay with that guy.
and she may stay with that
might
guy.
be the result.
But
But at least you get it off your chest. That's the thing.
And you know your side of the street is clean.
Yeah.
I think the other half of me was saying, like, is this something that deserves, like, is this only going to be a relief to you and not actually help your friend out in any way? Like in the last episode, like, sometimes the amends does more for the person, saying sorry than it does for the person, getting the apology. So, but I think in this case, given the context of what you've provided us, if this is your best friend and she's been with this guy for 5 years and they're probably going to get married, I think you need to be honest and you need to understand that this might ruin your relationship and she may stay with him, but this is like the karmically clean thing to do at this point. And just keep in mind too, like, I do want to acknowledge that you were blackout. So not that like excuses any behavior, but take understanding of what that had to do with the situation and what his role was in it as well. If this guy was predatory in any way, like, again, that's, I think, something that your friend deserves to know.
It's also, it's a very complicated thing, but there are always ways I've found. My best friend Alexis has done this before. I feel like, I think she's protected me from information in the past, but she'll sometimes give me hypotheticals. Hypothetically, if something happened, would you want to know? And, sometimes in a hypothetical, you say one thing and then in reality, it's something else.
Totally.
But it could be a situation where you tell a story about a friend in a similar scenario and say, what would you do? Would you want to know? Because it's, as somebody who has horrific sort of cheating trauma, there are times where I wonder what's worse, knowing or not knowing, because to feel like the victim of a secret, some of deception is very painful. But then also sometimes I wish I could unsee things and not know things. So I think, and I've known people where I've talked about this with them and they're like, I wouldn't want to know. As long as it doesn't happen again, I would never want to know. Don't poison me with that information. Don't unburden yourself just because you feel guilty. And then there are people who are like, I need to know these things. Yeah. So it really is very subjective, I guess.
If this guy's still a clinical asshole.
Or like, has he brought it up? Has he talked to her about it?
Yeah.
Does he remember? What was his role? Because I feel like he's being kind of like cast out as like the, you know.
But I think honestly, in a situation of deep betrayal like this, he doesn't matter and the friend doesn't matter. Both parties should be working to ensure that whatever needs to be done for the friend is the most important piece.
I agree.
Yeah.
If it's a one-time thing, it's hard for me because I think with cheating in particular, I think of things very sort of in intense judgment. I can't help myself. And it would be difficult for me to sort of unsee a mistake like that if I knew. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, if there was something that was never, ever going to happen again, this behavior was never going to happen, it happened in a vacuum, and this person was like, you know, going to be the best husband ever. If that was true, then the person probably shouldn't know.
Yeah, I agree. Because sometimes I think telling the truth does more harm than help.
Yeah. Agreed.
But some people want it. Some people want to know, and some people don't
want to
know.
Yeah,
you know.
I think the hypothetical though is a good.
Yeah, that's a good.
You may shoot yourself in the foot though, because she may be like, "What the like?" She may call your bluff and be like, "The fuck are you trying to tell me?"
Well, that's
right
why
now?
you need to go to Izzie's lying
101 class,
so that you can be good at
enroll now.
Yeah,
yeah. Be good
classes
at
on the
telling
Patreon.
Yeah,
classes on the Patreon soon.
It's 4 hours long. Take a snack and some water. Get ready to lie.
Okay, so we'll end this. We'll end this with a fun one. My daughter is 12 and smoking pot every day. What the fuck do I do with her?
Start smoking more pot so she finds it really uncool. Because when my mom was smoking pot when I was 12, I was like, drugs are disgusting.
We had a similar experience with that. Yeah. Weed wasn't cool. It was very fine, do it in the house kind of vibe. Yeah. And I was like, my friends would be like, we're going to smoke weed. And I was like, what? Why? Yeah. It was like a glass of wine. It was like, ugh.
Normalize it.
And also my mom told me something that did totally freak me out. Well, it was her in combination with my uncle who grew weed and stuff. And she was like, weed robs you of your ambition. She was like, it won't kill you. It won't do any of the things that like this sort of scared straight people are telling you, but it will rob you of your ambition. And
not know.
She would start like sort of telling me like people we knew who were like, see him? Stoner. And I was like, shit. So I guess just show your kid the losers who are potheads.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if she's smoking at 12, that is pretty young, I will say. Like, I think if she's smoking at 16 every day, like I did.
I smoked the first time when I was 12.
Really?
Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, every day, though? Were you smoking every day?
No. I just tried it for the first time when I was 12.
Yeah, I think I tried it when I was 12, too. But I wasn't smoking every day. I didn't have access to it. I think just watch it. If she's smoking every day, like Utah may be where she ends up going, but I'm kidding. I joke.
It's a kid.
No, I think make it uncool. Like, be like, who cares? You can do it in the, just.
It's the best way to scare your kids straight.
Yeah.
Is to actually just make things uncool.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, weed? Really?
Yeah.
You don't want to do coke?
I'm going to do,
yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to be doing coke in the house with all my uncool friends. And my kid's going to be like, ew.
I would never do that.
You don't want to do some blow with mom?
I think the ambition, though, thing is a good thing.
Come on.
And also, too, I would also say the things about memory. Like, oh, you don't remember that? Like, just start gaslighting her. Gaslight your kid. Like, oh, I told you this already. And like, don't be in like
the pot.
Not in a punitive way. Just be like, oh, you don't remember that? Must be the pot. Like, just really gaslight your kid into believing that she's forgetting everything. Because the truth is, if she's smoking every day at 12, she probably will be forgetting everything. Like, do you see? That wasn't even English. Like, because I smoked pot every day from the time I was 16
also,
to
she's
24.
Still in middle school. Like, she's all of high school to smoke weed.
Also, honey, if she's smoking pot at 12, let me tell you, there are far more debaucherous things going on in that girl's Snapchat. Take her phone. You need to take your child's phone immediately because she's on a path that ends.
Boys are actually the greatest gateway drug. More than drugs for a teenage girl, it's boys.
Yeah.
Boys are the gateway drug. It wasn't smoking pot that had me, going 100 miles an hour in a Chevy Camaro listening to dubstep High out of my mind.
Times.
It wasn't the pot that started that.
Good times.
It was a boy.
I smoked pot for the first time was a boy to impress him.
The first time I ever smoked pot was I was with
That's shout out.
shout out. She's like, I know where my parents keep their pot. And I was like, okay, cool. And she opened up their sex drawer and it was just like chains and dildos and this and that. And she was like, hang on, let me get the pot. And stuck her hand under and pulled out like a pharmaceutical grade capsule of like weed. And it was literally just shake. I mean, it was like truly the worst weed one could. I mean, it was oregano, essentially. It was just ground oregano and thyme. And I remember it, I was like, well, that's a lot of toys in there, even at like 7th grade. I was like, that's a lot of shit to have in there. And she was just like,
crazy.
and then we pulled it out and had a little pipe, and that was
Should we, just out of curiosity, should we maybe read one more question?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I have nothing to talk about on a first date. Any advice?
You could talk about Rick Caruso and all the things he's done at the Glendale Galleria and
Let's
the
talk about the Grove. Yeah.
I'm the perfect what not to talk about.
Yeah.
Your favorite conspiracy theory.
Mhm.
Your parents having different politics. Trauma, childhood trauma. The fact
Yeah.
that
Just
you
talk about
are-
yourself.
You don't
Or
believe in medication anymore.
if you don't feel like you have anything to talk about, just start giving your life story.
Well, honestly,
or ask for theirs.
I was going to say
Ask for
asking
theirs.
Ask
questions.
questions.
Ask
Asking
questions.
questions
Truly
is the best way to, because also it's a great litmus test on a date. I think especially as a woman. I don't know what this person is, but I would just say as a woman, if you ask questions and you're the only one asking questions,
Yes.
it's actually the biggest red flag you
Yep.
could
Huge,
ever
huge.
encounter.
Yep.
Because that will only continue. And there's something to be said for nervousness, but in general, I think asking questions is good because
I agree.
if they're not asking any in return, it's
Terrible.
quite possibly the biggest red flag.
Terrible vibe.
I also think to ask yourself why you feel like you don't have anything to say or share on a first date. Like, I think that's more, you feel like you don't have anything to talk about. So maybe you shouldn't be going on dates right now. For me, I have a lot to talk about on a first date. I have stand up. I have my podcast. I have my friend. I have a full life of things to talk about. It's why I don't really have time to date. So if you feel like you don't have anything to share about your life, maybe dating right now isn't where you should be spending your energy. Maybe you should be looking at finding things that fill your cup so that you do have things to share about. Also, is this something that you find yourself running into in other social situations with your friends where you just kind of take a back seat because you don't feel like you have anything to share or to contribute because there's not really much going on in your life? I think that's
Dang,
what you
girl.
have to like.
I know you're
take-
reading this poor girl like
You-
she's a nobody.
No, it's there's no judgment.
You're
I've
nothing.
been
These are fair questions.
I've been in the same place. Like, I feel like when I was just doing my day job, like that's all I had was my job. And like my job was my identity.
Totally.
And that was the only thing that I had to share. But yet I had so many thoughts and feelings and whatever about art and other things that were going on in the
Yeah.
world, stand up, this and that. But I wasn't ever pursuing them or doing them. And so I didn't really feel like I had a leg to stand on to share anything. And
Yeah.
so I think if you feel like you're going on these dates and you're like, man, I don't really have anything to talk about, maybe that's an inclination of like stuff that in your own corner you might need to figure out. Like, pick up a hobby. Like, have you ever wanted to try rock climbing? Like, I don't know. Like, you have to find out what it is that you're interested in doing and pursue those things. It
Start
doesn't
looking up conspiracy theories on YouTube.
join
It's
some
a-
Reddit
you
forums.
Could,
Yes,
you could go down a
honestly.
rabbit hole that you'll never come out
Start a
of.
podcast.
Yeah.
You'll have lots to talk about, I promise you.
That wraps up episode 6. Thank you guys for
6.
watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. The Patreon is launching soon. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. Please write a 5-star review. If you drop a little comment in those, we will be reading those out during the show. So that would be great. Please tell your friends. That's the number one way that podcasts get spread around is when you tell your friends that you heard this really great podcast and you tell your friends. So please do that
And tell them.
Please.
and tell them
And
tell
just
them
tell them.
and
Keep
just
tell
keep
your
telling.
doctor.
Yeah.
Tell someone random on the street. Say random, but you look like you would love this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on your physical
Harass
appearance.
every single person you come into contact with to listen to our podcast.
Break
Be-
no contact.
Break no
That's my
contact with the perfect way to break no contact with your ex. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching and joining, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.